Happy Friday, everyone. Friday starts the weekend, and we are here to make your weekend a profitable one through the props betting market. I am Andy Lang from WagerTalk.com. Joining me, as always, my fellow prop masters, Matt Josephs from SportsMemo.com and Andrew McGinnis from WagerTalk.com. We've got a lot to get to on the show. We're going to go over some NBA, some NHL props, some UFC props, and of course, MLB, and then we've got our best bet coming up at the end of the show. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We got a big weekend, a lot of things going on in the world of sports. So let's take a look at some of these sports. Matt, I'm going to come to you first. You always get us started with some MLB props. We're looking at some K props, some outs props, and some earned run facts. Get us started. Talk to us about MLB and what you've learned over the last week.
So I decided I'm going to kind of try and start doing some trends that have to do with either the pitchers that are going tonight or this weekend, so that way you can kind of apply things. And when you take a look at Milwaukee tonight, Milwaukee is in San Francisco facing the Giants and Sean Manaea. The Brewers have faced 9 left-handed starting pitchers so far this season. They're averaging 7 strikeouts per game against them. Manaea's number is 6.5. He has not been good, but obviously neither have the Milwaukee Brewers. Tomorrow, the Minnesota Twins are facing Logan Allen, one of the heralded prospects for the Cleveland Guardians. He is a lefty. The Twins have faced 5 lefties so far this season. They're averaging 8 strikeouts per game against them. I'll be interested to see what Logan Allen's number is. Might be 4.5, 5.5, because he's been pretty good. You might want to look at the over there. Zach Wheeler tonight has a strikeout prop of 6.5 against the Boston Red Sox. Mitch Keller, Taj Bradley, Sonny Gray, and Tyler Wells are the only right-handed starting pitchers to have gone over 6.5 strikeouts against the Boston Red Sox. They are 16-5 to the under when it comes to K-props against right-hand starting pitchers. 7 of the last 13 starting pitchers have allowed 5 earned runs or more against the Texas Rangers. The Rangers' offense has been very good this year so far, so maybe taking a look at some earned runs overs in their series against the Angels, including Tyler Anderson tonight, who is an absolute soft tosser, very slow pitcher for the Angels. And then finally, the Braves have gone under 6 straight K-props after going over 6 straight K-props. And I've found that this is a very streaky thing, so maybe start looking at some unders potentially against the Braves after they were an over team just last week.
Great stuff from Matt Josephs at sportsmemo.com. Matt, you mentioned the guy who's making his debut. Did they give you any indication of like pitch count or innings limit or anything, or is he just a good full go? We don't have to worry about that.
He's going to be a full go. This, I believe, his 3rd start in the majors so far this season, maybe 3rd or 4th, so he'll be good. The one thing to look for, if they decide to pull it up tonight, there is no number on Antonio Senzatella. He's making his debut for the Rockies. We'll see if they put it up. I'll tell you this, last night, great opportunity to take a very easy under. Jamison Taillon threw a 45-pitch bullpen session and then went and started against the Nationals. They set the number at 4.5. Now, luckily, it lasted 3 innings because he threw 4 strikeouts. But guys got to keep watching these things. Notice the rehab starts for guys coming off of the IL. Notice if they even have any rehab starts. As I said, Taillon had no rehab starts. He just came out of a bullpen session. So if the books don't pay attention, at least you should, and we can hit some of these unders on some of these guys who aren't going very long.
Great stuff from Matt Joseph, sportsmemo.com. Andrew, going to come to you, talk about UFC, and I believe you've got a method of victory prop you're interested in. Talk to us about UFC.
Yeah, Andy, I'm really excited over the next few weeks for some great UFC cards, including this weekend. I have a handful of plays for clients. It'll be available, of course, at WagerTalk.com. Always recommend grabbing the 3-day or 1-day passes and not just buying the best bet, the 4%. But method of victory, we talk about some of the big favorites you see in the UFC, and sometimes you just want to get those odds down just a little bit. And I'm curious your thoughts on this, Andy, because when you look at sometimes fighters making their UFC debut, they get kind of how do we say it, cherry pick matchup, so to speak, and certain scenarios work out for guys that are in their first few bouts in the UFC. Now, Chaos Williams, I think, is going to have a big showing this weekend against Bedoya. I just see it as a guy that's extremely battle-tested, a top 15 welterweight, in my opinion. And he's fought some really tough guys. You can go down a list of guys and some big names that he's been in the octagon against. And his opponent, I think he's really going to excel with the grappling exchanges. That's kind of where he does his damage. But here's the problem. I don't think he'll be able to get inside. If he tries to come close, Chaos will make him pay with some of his big striking power that he has. So you can get him inside the distance at around like minus 150, 145, depending on where you're shopping around there. And just looking at things as far as the amount of times that Chaos does finish his fights inside the distance, it's about 56% we're seeing over his last handful of fights. So he gets the job done inside. It's not every single time, but I think in this instance, his power will be a little bit too much. So I love trying to find these method of victory wagers to get those odds down and put you in a good position to succeed. So Andy, I'm curious what your thoughts are as far as, these UFC fighters. Sometimes the UFC tries to rack up some wins for them, but in this instance, I'm not so sure. What do you think?
Oh, Chaos is going to spark this guy. This guy's 14-1, and it's such a suspect 14-1. He fights in this low-level regional scene. He's a brawler. He's gotten away with it because he's been fighting fighters that can't take care of business, but he gets clipped in every single fight. Every single fight of his, at least twice, he gets absolutely rocked, but he's got great cardio, and the guys he's fighting are low level, so they clip him, and then they can't finish him, and then he ends up getting his finishes in the later rounds. He can't even finish these guys in the early rounds. His opponents just get tired. If this guy tries and brawls with Chaos, he's going to get smoked. If he tries to be hesitant, Chaos is going to walk him down and smoke him anyways. This guy's going to come out and swing for the fences, and if he doesn't get the knockout in the first 2 minutes, it's going to be lights out for this guy. I'm with you 100%. It's Chaos inside the distance. It's fight not to go the distance. It's just going to be a violent fight, and I don't think it's going to go well for Bedoya, who, by the way, does not even look like he's in that great of shape. I'll put that gently. So great. Yeah, Andrew, I'm with you 100% on this. Absolutely. I've already played this myself personally. So I'm glad when you said you were doing a method of victory, I was like, oh, I hope it's Chaos. So you and I are on the same page, brother. I want to talk about the Lakers players. We saw him last night, and that was about as predictable as it gets. I got burned, as did everyone else, on Kevon Looney because we had him over his rebounds, and then half hour before the game, they decide he's sick and he's only going to play 20 minutes. But with the Lakers, this was one of the most predictable unders for points, rebounds, and assists for LeBron and Anthony Davis you could ever see. This series is strange because they're playing every other day. LeBron and Anthony Davis played 40 and 44 minutes in game one. They got their split in Golden State. There was no shot that they were going to play a big minutes load as soon as Golden State started to pull away in the third quarter. They got their split at Golden State. They're going back home. And when you look at Anthony Davis's points, rebounds, and assists, it's every other game. He has a great game, and then he takes a game off. He has a great game, and he takes a game off. I think it's smart. I think these guys know that they have to manage their bodies, and they had their off game, which was game 2, and game 3, I'm going to be on Anthony Davis over. They're at home. They need to hold serve at home. Golden State had their huge win. Golden State's road issues have been well documented. People are going to overreact and, Anthony Davis, here we go, inconsistent. No, that was almost a planned game. The second that they won game 1, you knew he was not going to have a good game 2. Get ready. Take Anthony Davis over his points, rebounds, and assists on Saturday in this strange series where the other one in the West has like 5 days in between games, Phoenix and Denver. Yet we're going to run Golden State and Los Angeles every other day. The scheduling in the NBA playoffs always continues to baffle me. So
that's happening in the NHL too, Andy. And I think it's because of the arena bookings for some of the reasons. I don't know if it's all the reason, but the arena bookings. But wouldn't that cause for kind of a disadvantage for one of the teams going to the finals? Like, I feel like that'd be kind of weird, or I don't know, like if you're going to the Western Conference final, because like one team simply throughout their pathway had more rest. I don't know. It seems weird to me.
Well, for this particular series, it's a big advantage for Golden State, I think, because LeBron and Anthony Davis are not going to be able to give you full-time minutes every other day. If it was every third day, they might be able to, but every other day, no chance. And they know that, and they're not going to. This will be a really nice transition here. I thought it was ridiculous that Philly played Embiid the other night. I thought that was just a terrible strategy. They got their split in Boston. Why would you put him out there to put some wear and tear on the knee? He was bad. He was compromised. I know you want to talk about this Celtics and 76ers. I'd like to start there. Did you think it was smart to even put Embiid out on the floor? I thought it was crazy.
Well, to also go off your other point, Andy, with the bad scheduling, we're giving the extra day off to the Heat and the Knicks when it should really be like the two headline series of this round are the ones that are playing every other night and have, players with injury issues or are older. And the two series that people will care less about are the ones that are getting more rest. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I was not a fan of playing Embiid, but I'll say this. Whatever game you put Embiid out there, he was going to be rusty. They were going to look bad. So why not put it out in the game that you're pretty much guaranteed to lose? Because the Celtics were going to come out in game 2. They were going to play a lot better. They were going to take things seriously. They were going to win the game. There was no way that Philly was coming out of Boston 2-0. So why not play Embiid in the game that you are going to lose anyway? You let him run around. You run some offense. You try some things. You see what works. And he gets his wind underneath him. I hated the decision at first, but since they were going to lose anyway, I didn't mind it, Andy, because they weren't going to look good his first game back anyway. So I actually didn't mind it that much.
What do you think is going to take place in Philly? Is Embiid going to be super motivated? I believe childhood greats. By the way, shout out to our chat room, childhood greats. I would love to know the backstory of that name and why. Please explain in the chat how you came up with the name Childhood Greats as your YouTube name. Hey, love this comment. Embiid gets his MVP trophy tonight at home. Does that power him up and over his points and rebounds? Got to think the Sixers cover with energy in that place tonight. He says go with +2.5 and the team total over. Matt, what do you think?
So I'm quite the opposite here. I would have hammered, and the juice was ridiculous. The over on Embiid's turnovers tonight. I mean, he had 3 last game. He didn't even play the whole game. I just think Embiid's the type of guy who will try and do too much tonight. He will try and do too much. I like the turnovers over for Joel Embiid. And then, kind of looking at the matchups here, there was actually one matchup I really like. Horford -2.5 rebounds to have more rebounds than Maxey. I think Horford's going to have a big game tonight. And, Andy, you'll be so proud as we pull this up here. I want you to tell me your thoughts on this. I actually put together a same-game parlay.
Yes.
So here's what we got. It's a 9-pick same-game parlay for 7-1. Jason Tatum, 20 points or more. Tobias Harris, 10 points or more, because I can't ask him to do too much. Jaylen Brown, 5 points or more in the first quarter. Tyrese Maxey, 2 3-pointers. PJ Tucker, 1 3-pointer, because that's what he's good for. When he dribbled and tried to drive that one time, I'm like, dude, you know where you belong. Like the 3-point line in the corner. Don't dribble. Him and George Niang can't dribble. 13 points and rebounds for Al Horford. 15 points, rebounds, and assists for Marcus Smart. 1 block for Joel Embiid and 1 assist for Marcus Smart in the first quarter. A 7-1 payout there, Andy, for my same game parlay tonight.
I think anytime you take an over on PJ Tucker on offense, you're asking for trouble. So I get it. You only need one of them. That is all he's good for on offense. The Tatum points, yes. Tobias, yes. Jaylen Brown, the first quarter. Hopefully we don't get trepidatious Jaylen Brown or I don't know, throwing a fit or whatever's going on with that guy. Maxey, yes. I don't know. The Tucker one worries me. Horford. Yeah, he's not going to shoot as bad. Marcus Smart, he goes over his points, rebounds, and assists all the time in the playoffs. So, yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I'm with you. The Tucker one is the one that worries me. If I had to pick one that I think could trip you up, I believe it's the PJ Tucker one. So, what have you noticed anything from Boston, Matt? Or have you had any luck figuring out this Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown duo? Like we have Jaylen Brown, who at times seems frustrated with his team. He's got this. I mean, I've cut myself pretty bad. I've never cut myself on a flower vase, and I don't think I've cut myself to where this thing lingers on for weeks and weeks and weeks. So I have no idea what's going on with that. Do we have any props that you like from the Boston side, or are you sticking to mostly the Philly side?
So here's the thing. So I love those head-to-heads and the 3-pointers. They put up like 20 to 25 on DraftKings. It's just trying to pair the right two up. And it's really hard because obviously Derek White was cold game 1 and then he was hot game 2. Well, they don't offer any Malcolm Brogdon ones. I don't think he can keep that up. And then, Tatum was really hot in game 1. Then he was really cold in game 2. And so it's really hard to kind of figure out. But you mentioned it. The other thing that I kind of played was Marcus Smart, 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists over. I feel like he's good for 10 points, couple of 5 or 6 rebounds, and then 4 or 5 assists. And him and Horford, I wanted to play the Horford over 3-pointers. I just think he's not going to shoot that bad. And just the way Philly sports is, Horford's going to have a big game against us because we hate him and we're going to boo him. And I just feel like he's going to have a big game tonight. I think the Sixers come out of Philly 2-2. I think they get one of these. They probably need to get both if they're going to win this series. The one thing to say here is Scott Foster's doing the game tonight. Scott Foster is the series extender. There is a statistic on Twitter that says the home team is 47-19 this year when Scott Foster is refereeing the games. If there's a Joel Embiid free throw over, I think he could hit that. And as Childhood Great says, I think the crowd will be awesome tonight, but I also think that's bad if they're playing badly because the crowd will turn tonight, unfortunately. So I think that the Sixers are getting one of these next two. I lean to tonight with Scott Foster doing the game, but would not be surprised if they won game 4 because Embiid's getting the MVP tonight.
Love it. Great stuff, Matt. The Boston and Philly series. Andrew, coming to you, and we're going to talk about some NHL futures. We have the NHL playoffs going on right now. Before you get to the futures, can you just touch on what you've noticed the last couple nights and how these series have started off? Anything that we should that's really jumping out, that's catching your eye? I've only got one in NHL. I'm wondering if you've noticed the same thing I have.
Andy, all I really have to say is the power play points continue to be a good bet. That's what I will add as far as the prop betting is concerned for people, especially that are just kind of getting their feet wet. I really recommend looking at it. A power play can really change a game. You saw it last night. It was 0-0 after the first period in the Dallas-Seattle game. First goal of the game rewarded on a power play or right after a power play. The next goal for Dallas was on a power play. And it's just getting absurd how different the odds are from a regular 5-on-5 point to, a point on the power play. I also wanted to mention that at this point, there's certain teams you can take a look at their depth, I guess you can say, but there's certain teams where you just have to be betting on the top players. And I know, Andy, you know all about that, just finding some of those top guys. If the Florida Panthers have a good game at this point, I think Kachuk and Verhaeghe have a good game. I think that if the Devils play well, I would argue that Mercer and Hughes have a good game. Draisaitl scored 4 goals last game and the team lost. That can't happen. Pavelski, 2 games ago, scored 4 goals. The team lost. But what does that tell you is that as much as I'm always somebody that preaches about depth, right now in the NHL, betting these top guys isn't really a bad idea.
I should have texted you and Carm about this. I texted my buddy. Sam Bennett under his shots on goal. Is this a huge play for next game? Since apparently he's going to be keyed in on after injuring a Toronto Maple Leaf. Is that something that you might look at in hockey? Because I saw the clip. I wasn't watching the game live. I saw the clip and I saw the comments after the game. You think Toronto keys in on Sam Bennett? Would you go under Sam Bennett's props after that?
I'd go over his penalty minutes for the next game. If that was a prop I could take. The only thing with that is that he's the kind of guy, Andy, that doesn't really shoot to score always. You know what I mean? He shoots for the puck to be frozen and things like that. So that bugs me, but I would look at it. There's going to be some attention towards him, 100%. But I'll tell you what, that's a big loss for the Maple Leafs. And Next game for the Maple Leafs, I'll be looking at William Nylander. Everyone's talking about Marner and Matthews still. I'll be looking at Nylander. He's still a guy that's shooting the puck quite a bit. But I love doing this with Prop It Up. Of course, we have our shows every Friday. Obviously, that's not the only days that we all bet props. And we follow futures as well. Last year, I was able to hit the CFL winner about midway through the year, which was really exciting. And I'm going to try and talk about a couple of guys here just with different markets to look at. So the NHL Stanley Cup odds right now, plus 450 for Florida, plus 450 for Carolina, 475 for Vegas, and 550 for the Stars, 550 for Oilers, and plus 850 for the Maple Leafs. When I look at this, guys, immediately I look at number one, the Florida Panthers. If they win the Stanley Cup, right now, Matthew Tkachuk is at 7-1 to win the Conn Smythe Trophy. I would 100% be looking at Sergei Bobrovsky to win the Conn Smythe Trophy. Have you guys ever heard the expression getting goalied? That's what's happening to the Maple Leafs right now. All the analytical people are freaking out. Like, they don't know what's going on. If you are an analytical guy and you're watching that series between the Maple Leafs and Panthers, you don't know what you're seeing, because it has been pure dominance from one side in both games so far, and that side has lost both games. I'm sorry, but Tkachuk should not be the favorite to win the Conn Smythe. You can get Bobrovsky 20-1. I recommend everybody joining me, putting that one in your back pocket. And again, talk about goaltenders. As far as the Dallas side is concerned, I would look at Jake Ottinger at 15-1. If Dallas goes far, it would not shock me this year of all years, guys, to see a goaltender win the Conn Smythe Trophy. And looking at some of the odds, of course, with the series being where it is in the Edmonton series, with them being down one game, you look at the odds on them to win the Cup, they're plus 550. Current odds for Leon Draisaitl to win the Conn Smythe Trophy, 8-1. And right now, he is outplaying his cohort, Leon Draisaitl, so I would look towards that. But honestly, guys, looking at the Edmonton Oilers plus 550 right now, I feel like it's really good odds for the situation that they're in their series. And I feel like they're a team that can bounce back, get it going, and make a real push for the Western Conference Finals and the Stanley Cup. So plus 550, I think, is worth the price to get in your back pocket. If you are a believer in the Seattle Kraken, I mean, it's only tied 1-1 in their series against Dallas, and they're 16-1 to win the Cup. There's no real respect on them, but I just don't think I'll be put in a good position to hedge and things like that. So what am I saying here, Andy? Overall, I think a goaltender could win the Finals MVP this year. If you like a team, don't be shy to look towards their goalie at great odds. Looking at Ottinger 15-1, Bobrovsky at 20-1 to win the Conn Smythe Trophy.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, I was talking to Megan Payton yesterday, Andrew, and I was like, are we allowed to believe in the Panthers and the Kraken now at some point? Are we like, why are these game spreads so crazy? I will tell Andrew, I'll tell you my favorite prop that I have right now. It is when the Kraken play on the same night as the Panthers. You can take their alternate team totals. You could take the Panthers over 1.5 and parlay it with the Kraken to score over 1.5. Each team has played 9 games in the postseason. They've gone over it in 8 games. So these teams are combined, 16-2 on this, and you can parlay them. Last night it was minus 128. What I love about this prop is it's a playoffs. These teams are fighting until the very last second. So sometimes in the regular season, Andrew, the game gets out of control. It's 3-0, 4-0, and the team packs it in, and we'll move on to the next game. It's a playoff. So saw it last night. Seattle gets a late goal to make it 4-2 and goes over. So I'm going to keep playing this when the Kraken play on the same night as the Panthers, and I can parlay those two team totals over 1.5. It's just been a moneymaker throughout the NHL playoffs. So that's been my favorite one in that. NBA, I've been doing good with team totals. I would look at the Lakers to go over their team total on Saturday, and I would look, Matt, I like your Philly team to go over their team total. I think they play much better than they did in game 2. So I like the Philly team total. I have not been playing any like total game totals, but I've really been enjoying the individual team totals. So all right, guys, we're going to get to our best bet, and we're going to go to our Andrew. You're going to be in charge of our best bet. Real quick, Matt Josephs, tell everyone where we can find you at and what you have up for this weekend.
You can find me at sportsmemo.com. It's been a little bit of a rough start in baseball, but we're starting to get some of the breaks and starting to see some things really well. So I have a couple of K-props up on the website, sportsmemo.com. And also, by the way, Andy, I know originally in our rundown you mentioned the NFL draft. I'm looking forward to getting this thought from both of you guys. What do you think of the carry breakdown will be in Philadelphia with DeAndre Swift, Kenny Gainwell, and Rashad Penny? Obviously, Penny and Swift will get hurt at some point, but until they do, it's going to be quite the interesting backfield to try and figure out who's going to start and who's going to get the majority of the work on a day-to-day basis.
Unders. That's what I'm thinking, Matt.
I loved all the signings because one of my favorite bets last year was the team total for Philly, especially in the first half. So I like just as an offense as a whole. I think what Philly did with their backfield is brilliant. Let's get 2 brittle running backs that get hurt. All right, you get to run the ball. All right, you're hurt. All right, you get in there. All right, now you're hurt again. All right, well, just in time. This guy healed up, so now we can put him in, and then let's get Gainwell. I mean, it's the moving chess pieces is brilliant, and you guys got him at smoking deals, like hardly any money, which is amazing. So yeah, I love it. Like, let's not go get 1 brittle running back. Let's get 2. That way, when one is out, the other one comes in. So the rest of the league is playing checkers, Matt. You guys are playing chess.
And just remember, the Boston Scott anytime touchdown against the Giants, Nick Sirianni fully buying into the bit. So, like, it doesn't matter if he's, like, 6th-string running back. He's still going to score against the Giants.
You guys have so many running backs. The 6th-string running back is probably valuable. Everyone's gonna play. Everyone's gonna.
I think it's Trey Sermon, by the way.
Everyone's sleeping on the 6th string.
He's probably gonna be.
It's gonna be a prop list. It's gonna be like running back props, and then for the Eagles, the list is gonna be like this big for how many guys you can bake props on.
You're right. When they play Dallas, it's just gonna be like Tony Pollard. And then 6 running backs for Philly. Oh, that's great. That's great. No, I'm excited. I love what Philly did because I want to go right back to some of these Philadelphia Eagle team totals. They were a huge moneymaker for myself and for clients, and I couldn't be more happy with what Philly did. So yeah. All right, Andrew, tell everyone where we can find you at, what you have up for this weekend, and let's get to our show best bet.
Yeah, of course, the short link, wt.buzz/am, WagerTalk.com. Heavily involved in UFC this weekend, a little more aggressive in this card than I was with the last one. On a short MLB run and NHL 4-0. So trying to get things going here. As far as the best bet for today, it was an absolute embarrassment for the New Jersey Devils having just a handful of shots after the first period against the Hurricanes in Game 1. The coaching instructions will be very clear for these players. Fire everything they possibly can at the net and try and establish some offensive zone time. I said it during the show, I'll say it again. If Jack Hughes has a good game, the Devils have a good game. Jack Hughes over 3.5 shots on goal, -130. They don't have to be nice goals or nice shots. They just have to be at the net, try and freeze the puck, establish some offensive zone time. That's my prop of the week here. I wanted to get some action for tonight. It's the only game going, and we'll go Jack Hughes over 3.5 shots.
Let's do it. Jack Hughes over 3.5 shots on goal. That is our prop bet of the week. Thank you to Andrew McGinnis from WagerTalk.com. Thank you to Matt Josephs from SportsMemo.com. I'm Andy Lang from WagerTalk.com. We got a promo code up, Andy3. It gets you a 3-day pass for $39. You can grab all of our plays and all of our sports. We're having a great week and a great year so far. We're creeping up on plus 80 units for the year. So if you want to join in on all of our weekend, please, highly encourage you to do that. We got golf, we got Formula One, we've got lacrosse, we've got NBA, NHL, all that stuff. Use the promo code Andy3 gets you 3 days for $39. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone in the chat room. Thanks for joining us. Let's have a great and profitable weekend, and we will see everyone next week on Prop It Up.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.